viewers, and welcome to the Cultural Remodeling program. To help you through the program, my name is Leshe Kandeta. This evening, we'll be looking at some development programs on the Copperbelt province, particularly focusing on construction works that are taking place at the Kasumbalesa border post. We'll also take a ride to Ndola and look at the construction works of the new Ndola Stadium before we make a stopover at Chambishi to look at what is happening with the Mount Facility economic zones there. We will get back to Ndola and go in the trade fair to join some of our colleagues from the ministry who went to the trade fair and showcased what the ministry does in terms of helping the country to develop and to move forward, create wealth, create jobs, and become a middle-income nation by the year 2030. This time, let's go to a recap of the program with you last week, where we featured Minister Dr. Msokotwane on a tour of the mines. Watch with me.
I also want to say that on our side as Zambians, of course we should not assume that we are perfect. In fact, there are so many areas where we are imperfect, and this party of course explains why economic success has eluded us for many years. The Zambians too must learn to adapt. The economic environment is always changing. The way people work is always changing. The way people think is always changing. The way people strategize about industry is always changing. So on our side also, we cannot remain adamant and same because this is the way we've been doing things in the last 20, 30 years. It must remain like that. No, it cannot remain like that because we are not perfect. We too have to be prepared to change our ways in so many different ways, particularly copying the ways and cultures of those societies that have proved themselves to be successful in fighting poverty.
Welcome back. That was Minister Dr. Msokotwane there giving us some thoughts on what as Zambians we should also do in view of the investment that is coming into our country. Yes, indeed, let's put an effort. Let's put our own efforts to see that we get development going in this country. Let's go now to a field report that we have prepared for you concerning some development programs on the Copperbelt province. Watch with me, please.
As the Copperbelt province speedily recovers from the dark days of low productivity and lost jobs, affected Zambians are not only recovering their smiles, they are also witnessing major development programs in the education, health and infrastructure sectors. One way in which this is being made possible is through public-private partnership.
We have started implementing the infrastructure, precisely the roads and the bridges. You might have all seen quite a number of adverts that have come out. What we are doing is to do all the roads all the way from Livingstone up to the Copperbelt. There will be 4 lanes, the existing 2 lanes, and we will construct 2 new ones, and this is going to be done by inviting the private sector to put money in the project. And that will be in partnership with the government. The private sector will gain something out of this project. There will be toll gates, toll plazas, and I should advise the community out there that they should not be scared, because we are targeting commercial trucks, very heavy trucks, which you might have noticed do spoil our roads. They are sometimes overloaded, and our roads get spoiled because of such things, and those are the ones we want to target. And definitely we are the only country in the region which is not charging any tolls. If you go to any other country, if you go to South Africa, you go to Botswana, you go anywhere, there are toll gates and people are made to pay for the roads. Yeah, but initially what I would like to advise the public is that the residents will be charged very minimal fees of almost 1,000 kwacha, 2,000, just to bring them into a habit of being used to start paying. The focus is on the commercial trucks, which are a danger to our roads. One typical example which I want to bring on the table to share with the community is a project of housing. The housing project, for example, as you are aware, in our communities we have a shortage of houses. A lot of people do not have decent housing accommodation throughout. A lot of, not only the government people like teachers, nurses, policemen, a lot of civil servants are not housed because there isn't enough accommodation to go around. So is the private sector. We cannot meet the challenge of coming up with adequate, affordable accommodation. So government has come up with this initiative to construct 12,000 houses, following, of course, the approval of the policy, like I said, which was approved late last year. And this department has been created for the past 4 months, but I'm sure a lot of work has gone behind the scenes, you know, regarding paperwork, contracts, and so on and so forth. So what remains is the actual implementation. How this housing project is going to work, for example, is that government will provide a piece of land in a designated area, and the contractor will come up with a consortium with a bank, and they will build up houses in a place given to them by the government. And these houses will then be occupied by people who are able to pay mortgages to the contractors. And you may realize that a lot of people stay in some places, like maybe in some shanty places, they're paying exorbitant rents. And after paying rent for 10, 15 years, those houses are not even theirs. But in this particular case, a house which will be allocated, say, to a teacher in one area, after paying rentals for 10 years or so, that house becomes his.
Through the Public-Private Partnership Program, the Zambian government has taken the initiative to ensure that the private sector meaningfully participates in national development. The sincerity of the PPP initiative is seen in the commencement of infrastructure development at the Kasumbalesa border.
We're investing 25 million US, where one of the main financiers is DBSA Bank from South Africa. We're talking here of about 10 hectares, which is developed into parking lots for heavy duty truck, for light vehicles, buses, and other for pedestrian and other who cross that border. Over and above, we will have here about 5,000 square meters of offices, whereby about 2/3 of it will be allocated as part of the agreement with the government to government official, different agencies. That border going to be a state-of-the-art border, fully monitored by and computerized. Most of the movement will be, and the monitor movement will be automatically. And I believe that the congestion that we have faced just that side within 5 to 6 months will be history. We are targeting to bring that border post into full operation before Christmas time. I'm very proud to say that almost 100% of the teams are Zambians. Engineers, contractors, workers, quantity surveys, land surveys, and so on. We have started with full volume, fully encouraged by government, fully encouraged by PPP, headed by Mr. Ndopo. We're getting a full cooperation, and that one, of course, encourages us to push the works and to fast track whatever we can do. If I would say in a percentage, I may say that over 50% of the work is already done. As we saw in a few minutes ago, most of the parking area, the foundation is already through. So we just have to come with the pavement of the concrete, and by that the parking area will be completed. Out of 5 buildings, we can see that 2 of them we have reached already up to the ceiling point. The other one, fully, which is a steel structure, foundation is about to be completed in a week time, and thereafter it will be very quick and very easy to construct the steel structure because it's coming like a Lego. I believe within 3 weeks' time the main building will be standing. We are very happy with the cooperation with government. So at the moment we have plans to go up to phase 8. Whatever we saw a few minutes ago was phase 1. We're coming very shortly phase 2 with a warehouses structure up to 18,000 square meter, whereby the structure for the first 3,000 square meter is already on site. Phase 2 will be a container terminal. Thereafter we will go to a logistical area. Thereafter we will go to industrial area, and so on up to, as I said, phase 8. Of course, we still have to put some application to government, to ZDA and other agencies, but we are within the process.
For us as a government, this is a very important project. Firstly, because this is the first public-private partnership project that we've signed in this country, and that being the case, it is very important that we get it right, so that what we want achieved under this project does get achieved with 100% success. What is it what we want to achieve? What we want to achieve is that if you saw as we were coming, there's a long queue of trucks and other motor vehicles waiting to cross into Congo, and others, of course, having crossed Congo, wanting to come into Zambia. The long queue and the waiting time means that a lot of unnecessary costs are being incurred here. Costs because equipment is waiting. Instead of moving about carrying cargo, it is waiting here. That is lost time, lost incomes. It is an expense also because when drivers wait here, they must be fed, and that is also cost money. Now, with what we are doing to improve the infrastructure, plus other regulations that we are going to introduce, including that perhaps of one-stop border post, this traffic should ease out. So those costs that we are talking about should decline. And this is going to assist our economy to perform better. On top of that, as you heard from the partners that we are working here, this is not just going to be another border post. We've been told that this is going to be the best border post in the region. Why? Because the facilities that are going to be here are going to be very advanced. Apart from the huge parking area that you've seen here, that would decongest the road here, there will be banks here. There will, of course, be the usual government offices such as police, immigration, drug enforcement, and of course there will also be spaces for the clearing agents, but much more. You've heard that this is only phase 1. In the other phases, there are going to be other investments that are going to increase business here. You've heard about the warehouses, and you know that there's a lot of demand on the other side for many items, but sometimes there are challenges to go across the border. So the warehouses that are going to be stationed here, it will be much easier for producers and traders in Zambia, whether it is maize, meal, vegetables, chicken, name them. They will just come and store their stuff here, and then they call our neighbors there if they want. They will come here, buy very comfortably. The banks will be there to serve them. So with those facilities, obviously, the opportunities that we have to sell more to Congo, and of course for the Congolese also to come and sell to us, because this is what we want, those opportunities are going to increase.
The joint public and private sector-led development of the Zambia-China Multi-Facility Economic Zone in Chambishi Township of Karurushi District has commenced in earnest. A world-class facility offering infrastructure support for private sector investment and employment creation in manufacturing, service, hospitality and other economic sectors is what the Chambishi Multi-Facility Economic Zone will become. In Africa, it is the first such initiative by the Chinese government.
We are located in the new developing zone area. It's so-called is a central district area. The total size is 1 square kilometers. So is this year what we are concentrating to develop. So we are standing there just in front of our office building location. The office building like this one.
Like this one?
Yeah, we would have the first phase we have 4,500 square meters. So it would serve our officing demand and other enterprises officing demand.
Very good.
And we also have a conference meeting room. And,
here also?
Yeah, here. And we have also exhibition to display all the zone enterprises progress, achievement, and even some product samples to show what we are doing and what our achievement in the zone.
I see.
Yeah. So and then we still have 2 building maybe for next step to develop.
I see.
Yeah, totally we have about 3,000 square meters. Yeah. Besides this, we can see our road, or what we are standing on. It will be complete in this year. So the contractor is from a local business from Andola. Larry Gomes will doing this contract. So right now we can see all the pipeline along with the road.
These are the pipelines?
Yeah, pipeline.
It's doing for the
Yeah,
For the water?
for water, for sewage,
Yes.
for telecommunication, yeah, even for some power line. So we put all the pipeline along with the road underground. So that means when the pipeline finish, and we can start to cover all the road as a concrete road. So maybe by the end of October, you can see the total long would be 6.5 kilometers long would be finished. So it's a great image. And Minister, you can see that point. We would build a great gate of the Zambia-China Economic Zone. The gate will show all the passengers, all the vehicles through from Kitwe to Chingola or Chingola to Kitwe to the image of our zone. Yeah. This is our great
This will be the gate into the...
to the zone.
I see.
Yeah. So this will doing the function as investment promotion as well. So to show in Zambia there is a special platform for potential investors.
Right.
Yeah, we can provide complete infrastructure, including the power supply, water supply, and even our service, including the policy consulting and legislation consulting and service.
I see.
Yeah, even we have a clinic here, and we have Sino Friendship Hospital, and we will establish a branch of it within the zone.
Very good.
So, yeah, make our investors feel very, very comfortable and to establish their confidence with Zambia. And we try to work together with ministry and the local authorities to build one of best investment destination in the world, or in South Africa, at least in South Africa.
Very good.
Yeah. So, and along with this block, Honorable, we also have a plan along with this block line, and we establish a 10,000 square meters workshop to rent to the small and mid scale investors.
So these are factory shells.
Yeah, factory shelf.
Yes.
Yeah, like a plant or factory. It would be 7.2 meters high, and maybe they have 18 meters wide, and depends on the business need.
Yes.
We built now is 2 steps. One is total size is 1,000 square meters. The other is 1,500 square meters. So if they need more the larger size, we can follow their instruction to build specially for them.
Okay.
And rent them. And if they want to build by themselves, it's okay.
They can also do it.
Yeah, they also can do it, but they need to follow our standard.
Right.
We try to keep the image as constant as our standard requirement.
Indeed, as seen with many investments by the Chinese private sector and the Chinese government, quality and standard are of paramount importance. Finance and National Planning Minister Dr. Stumbekom Sokotwane led a government delegation on a tour of major development programs on the Copperbelt province, and he had this to say upon seeing the progress at the Chambishi Multi-Facility Economic Zone.
I think this is a lot of progress, and indeed our dream is that we should get to a situation where this zone and the sister zone in Lusaka should be prime areas of destination for anyone wanting to do investments in Zambia. Now, what we want to see primarily here, as was agreed that time, is a zone particular. Of course, anyone is welcome, but I think the focus of the government should be the area of excellence for metals. We talk about the need to add value to copper. I hope that we can attract those companies that can come and add value to copper here, such as the wires, electrical motors, copper alloys such as brass, bronze, and others. We also want to encourage the fabrication of a lot of items that are currently being imported by the mining sector. Some of these used to be manufactured before in Zambia, but now they are being imported from various places. We hoped to re-establish Zambia as a basis for the manufacturing of those components for both the mining industry in Zambia and also the mining industry in Congo, DRC. As a country, we need to maintain competitiveness in order to attract industries here. We need to maintain competitiveness because companies can only come and settle here if they're able to make profits. Now, on our side as government, we have to minimize, and this is part of our ongoing program under government, to minimize the cost of doing business so that we make it as low as possible, we make the regulations as attractive as possible. That way, we shall not just have the infrastructure, but the actual industries that employ people. So, thank you very much. This is a lot of progress that I've seen.
Thank you.
Please keep it up.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
The people of China have been key partners in our national development. China is best remembered for constructing the Tazara railways, a link between Tanzania and Zambia. What will become one of Zambia's standing infrastructure icon is also being done by the friendly people of China. This multi-facility, 40,100 capacity stadium being constructed by AFEC of China is scheduled to be handed over to the Zambian government in October 2011.
The construction period of this project is 26 months. That is to say, on 28th October next year, we will hand over this project to a government. Maybe the Chinese government will send a delegation to come here for examination and acceptance at the end of August next year. The Chinese government, as well as our company, that is AFECC, paid great attention to this project. This stadium could accommodate 40,100 spectators. That is a multi-function stadium. Now the World Cup has been held in South Africa, but most of the stadium we watch on the TV is just the single function stadium. It's just for the football game. But this stadium could be used for a lot of games, different games. Even in China, such size of the stadium could be deemed as a big one, even in China. Even some capitals or the provincial capital stadium could not compare with this one. So all the Chinese experts working on the site is about 400. About 700 local workers are working on the site every day.
实际上在册的这个站房员工有1000名。
But actually, the registered local workers is about 1,000.
所以这个站房工人跟中方员工之间的关系非常融洽。
So the relation between the Chinese workers and the local workers is very smooth and harmonized. Because 1 year passed, so the local workers learned a lot of skill from this project. So this stadium will be very beautiful one. The function the stadium have is very complicated. In the VIP areas, we also install the lift elevators. Even if there's some say small rain, we can have the games in this stadium also, because more than 85% of the seating area will be covered by the canopy.
As the minister looked back through the ages, he shared refreshing thoughts about the prospects that the National Stadium in Ndola will bring to the Copperbelt province.
This city of Ndola used to have many manufacturing activities. Some of them have gone down because of opening up. They could not face the competition. So one of the challenges that we faced is that of finding alternative livelihoods for the residents of the city.
这个恩多拉这个地方呢，现在越来越缺乏一些这个经济力正在继续的减少。我们现在要这个积极的寻找这个工业和恩多拉经济的发展的这个一个机会和机遇，这样对整个恩多拉这个人民会有好处。
So I believe that a stadium will assist to create alternative jobs to some of the failed manufacturing firms, and it is the intention of the government, now that the stadium is going to be completed, to market the city of Ndola so that as many national, as many regional, and as many international sports activities can be hosted by the city.
这个体育场建成以后，肯定会对恩多拉市的就业，给恩多拉市创造更多的就业机会，同时，这个区域性的乃至国际性的这个比赛都可以在这里举行。
So we expect the city of Ndola from now onwards to be an important venue for the so-called sports tourism.
In a few years to come, Ndola will indeed be a center of sports tourism through the various national and international sports festivities and events to be held at the National Stadium. In the next 5 years, actualization of public-private partnership will contribute up to 10% of GDP.
That's right, you've seen for yourselves, viewers, Those were some of the places we went to with the Minister of Finance and National Planning, just to see what the policies that government has put in place are doing in terms of getting the private sector to participate in developing this country. We have seen some examples of PPPs through that Kasumbalesa program. We've also seen how bilateral relations between countries can make make countries develop basically. And what I'm saying here is we've seen the works that are going on at the Ndola Stadium there. Those are a result of warm and sound bilateral relations between the People's Republic of China and the peoples of Zambia. Right now, let's go to another special package. In this package, we are showing you what we saw at the trade fair in Ndola. Watch with us.
The Ministry of Finance and National Planning participated in the 2010 trade fair in order to engage members of the public on various operational and economic affairs. In many ways, the Ministry of Finance and National Planning is a center of excellence.
As CCSD, we have taken this opportunity of the trade fair to showcase the innovations that we have brought about, especially with the coming up of the IFMIS. As CCSD, we want to provide some capacity building both within the government and also in the later stage, we're going to open it to the public. And these capacity buildings are in the technologies that we are going to utilize as IFMIS. These technologies are SAP, Microsoft, and also some Cisco. So the vision is that in the next few months, as we are setting up this ICT Center of Training Excellence, we want to go into partnership with the three organizations that I've mentioned. And this is in line with the vision and also with the theme that we are showcasing here at the trade fair, which is private-public partnership. We're going to be in partnership with these people. They will provide the software, the human resources, and of course their brand names, whilst we will provide the presence and the goodwill that Ministry of Finance and government has, so that together we can come up with this center of excellence that will provide this capacity, both to the government human resource and also, like I said earlier on, to the public.
The Ministry of Finance and National Planning is also charged with regulating the conduct of betting, gambling, and lotteries in Zambia.
The major challenge which the board faces is that of sensitizing the members of the public on the need to ensure that when they have to conduct any form of gambling or lottery activities, they are supposed to obtain authority from the board and pay the appropriate fees. One of the major activities which the board has been undertaking this year is to monitor and sensitize the members of the public on the need to follow the laid down rules and regulations. One of the major activities which we had put in the work plan was to come and tour the International Trade Fair, because that's where you find that a lot of companies exhibit and a lot of people come to attend. So our duty was to sensitize the public and also the institutions exhibiting on the rules governing the conduct of Rotary activities. Apart from that, we also visit a number of provinces and visit established institutions to sensitize them on the need that if they have to conduct rotaries in form of promoting their products, there is need to ensure that they come first to the Ministry of Finance and National Planning, where the board is housed, and that's where they will be authorized to conduct those activities.
The government stores, a department in the Ministry of Finance and National Planning, is charged with the responsibility of stocking office consumables for sale to public institutions at competitive prices. This is one way in which public resources could be rationalized.
The aim of government stores is to provide a constant supply of goods and services to our client ministries and departments at a competitive price which are lowest than those obtaining at the open market. Within the show, we discovered that most of the people and even those in the civil service are not aware that government stores is still operating. But through this arrangement, we have managed to explain to them and even requested, especially those that are in the civil service, to be contacting their officers in the procurement units and even their heads of department, that government stores is still there operating, that they should be buying or obtaining their requirements from government stores, especially that the prices are more competitive than those obtaining at the open market. We are very much aware that the savings that government may achieve from the operation of this department will help to sustain the economy that's already demanding that it requires our support in all the institutions that are all there. When customers or where the ministries and departments buy from us, this will help the government meet the profiles within the approved budgets. Than at the moment when things are being bought at the open market, because even the estimated quantities will never be achieved because the prices there keep on changing. The advantage with government stores is that there is uniformity in prices, even quality. People should not actually be doubtful with the quality of item that we have, because those have actually been obtained according to the demands from the actual customers. We are not self-complacent. That's why even our stock control system demands that the items be made available at the rightful time when those are required by our customer, by them at that particular time.
Zambia's domestic debt has been cited as an encumbrance to private sector development because private sector resources are locked in the domestic debt. The Investment and Debt Management Department, IDM, is charged with the responsibility of managing Zambia's domestic debt.
In particular, I would want to speak about investments and debt management, which is one of the departments under the Ministry of Finance and National Planning. The department has got 3 units. One of the units there is government investments. We also have domestic debt unit. We equally have external debt unit. Domestic debt and external debt units are charged with responsibilities of managing the national debt. They developed frameworks and strategies on how to manage domestic debt. As you are aware, in the recent past, the past 5 years, domestic debt has been increasing. But you find that the component of the increase in the domestic debt has basically been on the government securities. But government has been trying to manage the domestic arrears, which has been reducing, and the citizens have benefited to that effect. But as you are aware, we cannot sit back and just see things moving in the way they are moving. We are there to advise the government, we are there to advise the management on what strategies we should put in place to make sure that we maintain and sustain the levels that are acceptable to the nation. This is one of the core functions of these two units. in that if you look at the 2030 vision, is to make a nation to become a prosperous middle-income nation. And we are trying to create an macroeconomic environment that is conducive for growth. So if debt, external debt and domestic debt are not well managed, then we are not going to be in the position to make the country reach or become rather the prosperous middle-income nation by 2030.
Ministry of Finance and National Planning is making significant progress in providing an enabling environment and cost reduction solutions for public benefit organizations through a VAT emption facility.
Public benefit organizations. These are the organizations which are supplementing the government in terms of providing facilities, goods and services to the vulnerable people. The government recognizes the effort, so in turn what it did was, when they're importing certain items, was to help them with the payment of customs duty, excise duty and VAT.
Further to the efforts of improving public resources, government has launched the Audit Handbook in order to improve the operations of audit committees in ministries, provinces, spending agencies and statutory institutions. Audit committees draw their mandate from the Public Finance Act No. 15 of 2004, Section 2, and under no circumstances will they be expected to practice executive functions of a ministry, province, spending agency or statutory organization with regard to its findings and recommendations on any operational aspects of organizational management and control.
The Audit Committee will be appointed by the Secretary to the Treasury, and they will meet and review audit reports prepared by the internal auditors countrywide. This is to enhance transparency and accountability, because they would have no reporting relationship with the controlling officer other than that of the Secretary to the Treasury. Ideally, we hope and are determined to believe that this would curtail malpractices in the management of public finances.
The Ministry's Department of Human Resource and Administration also took part in the trade fair.
For the Human Resource and Administration Department, we are concentrating on innovative and strategic management through the implementation of the EFQM Excellency Model. And through the EFQM Excellency Model, we are looking at empowering our leadership through the improvement of processes and the implementation of key performance results for the various services we offer to our clients, not only internal clients but also external clients. The Department of Human Resource and Administration is a department that has got a variety of services that cut across not just the ministry but also into the various MPSs and other institutions and stakeholders within the nation. Coming to this year's show, I think this year's show has been quite important. It has been a valuable platform for getting feedback from the general public, both from the civil service and just the general public, on how they view our performance as a ministry and how they think as a ministry we can improve the services that we currently provide.
Development programs and construction projects happening throughout Zambia are not accidental. They are translation of government policies into economic growth, employment opportunities, and wealth creation. Lieutenant General Ian Kama Seletse Kama, the President of Botswana and guest of honor at the 2010 Zambia International Trade Fair, could not resist the need to know what development policies and programs Zambia had put in place. President Kama visited the Ministry of Finance and National Planning stand at the trade fair. Finance and National Planning Minister Dr. Stumbeko Msokotwane was on hand to receive the President of Botswana.
Excellency, these are the staff of finance. Mr. Ndoko will explain to you what they are doing about private partners. Mr. Ndoko.
Good morning, Your Excellency. Welcome to the Ministry of Finance. Our core activity in the Ministry of Finance is the economic management. Of course, to be able to manage the economy, we have to be able to measure the economy. So we set ourselves goals. We have the vision, which is to bring Zambia to a prosperous and middle-income country by 2030. And through that, we have various parameters which we measure ourselves. We have the inflation rate, we have the GDP growth, and so on. So we have various programs which we have put in place. In the process of economic management, budgeting is one of them. Budgeting, the collection of resources through tax, and the redistribution of these resources to the spending agencies. And besides that, we have a variety of documents of the reports that we produce. We have the work started in April. Previous time, we were starting maybe July and August, which is clearly
President Rupia Banda also found time to visit the Ministry of Finance and National Planning stand at the trade fair.
How are you? We see him every night. Yes, we do. On our screen. Thank you very much. Thank you. How are you? Basically, this is the... Yeah, thank you. And this is the finance. Yes, change. Concentrate. Yes. Major program this year is aligned with the theme of innovation is the public-private partnership. Public-private partnership we invite them to use their private resources to help government, the main government. This so far
the budget, our department will contribute to ensuring that our vision in 2040 is achieved by ensuring that any budget and the medium-term strategic framework are implemented as articulated or stipulated in the national plan. This particular case of that the situation is very clear to it is implemented. So briefly, this is what I can say about the department.
His counterpart, President Rupia Banda, paid tribute to the warm relations between Botswana and Zambia.
I'm so grateful, Mr. President, that you have accepted to be our guest of honor at this trade fair. As my other colleagues have alluded to, this signifies the close relations that our founding fathers have developed between our two countries. I say this many times and I'm saying it again. Botswana is truly a sister country. It is united with the Zambian people in many ways, including culture, blood, and above all, looking at problems on our continent and in the world together in harmony. Mr. President, may I simply ask you on behalf of the Trade Fair and the people of Zambia to come up and address us.
In perfect harmony with the spirit of constructing the powerful national stadium in Ndola, Botswana President Lieutenant General Ian Khama Seletse Khama had this to say on his recent visit to Ndola.
I think the time, Mr. President, has come for us in the southern region of Africa to end the domination of our brothers in North Africa and West Africa when it comes to football. And I think one of the countries which can take the lead in becoming one of the first to represent us on the continent in the World Cup is Zambia. And I'm not saying that, Mr. President, because I'm here in Zambia today. I'm not saying it because I'm trying to be diplomatic. I'm saying it because in the good days when I was in the army, we tried to poach a number of players and coaches from your country. And we succeeded. And I can remember that I personally witnessed some very good quality Zambian players and coaches. I don't know if you know them, but people like Felix Chalwe, Abraham Mubanga, and the coach called Dick Cham. These were very high quality sports people. And we would always be beaten by a team called Green Buffaloes, who at that time dominated in the Zambian league. So, Mr. President, you know what we should do? Whilst our brothers in West Africa, some of whom we hear have been suspended for 2 years, whilst there are others who need to also spend 2 years practicing how to kick penalties. This is the time now for Zambia to stand up and take the region forward, and we in Botswana will be fully behind you.
Lieutenant General Ian Khama Seletse Khama complimented the Zambian government on the manner in which economic governance and development programs are being handled.
It would be remiss of me not to pay personal tribute to the prudent manner in which you and your government have managed to steer your economy through these troubled times. Zambia's impressive growth rate of 6.3% last year is evidence of your capable leadership and stewardship. Ladies and gentlemen, I've noted that the theme of this trade fair is economic recovery through innovation and competitiveness. This is most appropriate as your country, like my own, is struggling in the face of the ongoing crisis to further restructure its economy in order to be more effectively capitalized on now emerging global economic opportunities. Each of our countries further shares the common challenge of accelerating economic diversification in order to lessen our long-standing dependence on the mineral sector. In this respect, I note that both of our economies are finding renewed opportunities, particularly in the agricultural sectors. In the case of my own country, the crisis has been accompanied by an unprecedented expansion in both total hectares planted and final yields. This, I wish to emphasize before this distinguished audience, has created additional opportunities for external trade and investment between us. It is my understanding that here in Zambia, as in Botswana, it is now widely accepted that achieving economic recovery through innovation and competitiveness will further require an ever-increasing contribution from the private sector as an engine for ensuring sustainable growth. We all furthermore recognize that our countries can no longer to put all our eggs in one basket. Sustained growth through which we can also achieve sustained reductions in poverty will require contributions from small, medium and large enterprises alike. In this respect, it is comforting to see just such a diversity represented at this event. This fair's theme further underscores the need for our two countries to increasingly engage in systematic initiatives to improve the quality of goods and services that we produce so that they become competitive in the international market. International trade fairs such as this can play a critical role as they not only afford companies an occasion to showcase their products, but also provide an opportunity for enterprises to benchmark with one another in order to improve their product quality and their range. Before coming here, I was able to review the bilateral trade figures between our two countries. I'm pleased to be able to report that, notwithstanding the financial crisis, these statistics show a remarkable improvement in the trade flows between us over the last 5 years, as Botswana and Zambians alike have begun to take advantage of the market access opportunities as availed through the SADC trade protocol. I am also reassured by the fact that the content of our trade also reflects an increasing diversity of goods. There are, however, still many opportunities for further growth in sectors such as manufactured goods and agro products that we can encourage and nurture for our mutual benefit. Your Excellency, we shall not be able to achieve our shared vision of greater regional economic integration if we fail to improve our communication links. Whilst I must commend the efforts of our two governments, along with international partners, spearheading the planned construction of the Kazungula Bridge, I would also like to urge that we both do everything in our power to ensure that this important project becomes fully operational as soon as possible. The anticipated launch of a direct air link between Gaborone and Lusaka in August this year should also facilitate swift movement of people, goods and services in a cost-effective manner.
The attainment of a resilient and diversified economy with the capacity for sustained and rapid growth is not an option for government, it is an article of faith. We must achieve this goal if Zambia is to take its rightful place among the nations of the world, masters of our own destiny and dependent on none. It is indispensable to our resolve to achieve the Millennium Development Goals by 2015 and to surpass them thereafter to become a middle-income country by 2030.
Welcome back. That was our special package from Ndola there. Just sharing with you what we shared with the people out there when we went to the Copperbelt province. Right now, it is my pleasure to take you to a Bible reading, and this reading comes from Matthew chapter 10 verses 11 to 14, and it is saying, "When you come to a town or village, go in and look for someone who is willing to welcome you. Stay with him until you leave that place. When you go into a house, say, 'Peace be with you.' If the people in that house welcome you, let your greeting of peace remain there. But if they do not welcome you, then take back your greeting. And if some hometown will not welcome you or listen to you, then leave that place and shake the dust off your feet." That ends the reading from the Bible. Yes, indeed, viewers. If we look at what is happening on the Copperbelt province, here are people who have come from outside Zambia to come and do some investments. Let us welcome them, not only those who are doing developments on the Copperbelt province, but also colleagues from outside Zambia who have come to participate in the development of this country. Let us welcome them so that together we can have development flowing in this great country. We'll see you next week at the same time when we come with another program. Possibly we'll be looking at what ZESCO is doing to improve its services, to improve the way they do things, and we will have the Managing Director of ZESCO, Mr. Ernest Mpoya, hopefully, on our program for next week. Good night and thanks for joining us.